uncertainty about the battle space of the future and also the austere budgets that we may be facing going forward is really focusing the mind on how do we use technologies to change the way air power works and what air dominance is all about. Now, we're joined today by Annabel Flores, Vice President of Electronic Warfare Systems at Raytheon Intelligence and Space. Annabel, welcome to the program. Now tell me, what technologies do you see as being critical for enabling air dominance in today's battle space?
So with the shift of the national defense strategy and really looking at what other adversaries are potentially doing, there's been a lot of investment in additional sensors and electronic warfare specifically, if you will, that really puts into question air dominance and the ability of our pilots and our existing platforms across the world to really be effective in these types of new missions that they're having to shift from terrorism to these peer adversaries that we're dealing with. And so in air dominance, it really is a suite of different solutions that are really necessary to give that pilot that edge to be able to effectively complete their mission. So we're talking about all sorts of different capabilities that are required. Enhanced radars, enhanced electronic warfare, which is everything from jamming to radar warning receivers, enhanced capabilities in terms of sensors for EOIR, for just additional situational awareness, and then all the way to effects that are required in this new scenario. So it really is almost a wholesale advancement and upgrade of what our pilots currently have to be able to compete in this mission and be able to accomplish their objectives.
Okay, and indeed, as we said at the beginning, we're at a point where budgets are a bit tighter. And also, as you say, the threats have changed, terrorism, and also it's no longer, if I may say, just the uni of the United States across the world. We're seeing threats coming from other nations as well. So it really does mean upping our game, I guess.
Correct. So really what we're talking about, especially understanding these constrained budgets, right? It's not about just the wholesale redesign. It really is about how do we take these existing platforms that have been doing very well for us, for our different partner nations across the world, and give them this added capability within that limited budget, right? It's not about wholesale new platforms or wholesale completely new solutions. That's not affordable. And that's also not within the time frame that our warfighters need, right? Our pilots need solutions now in a very tight budget. So what we're doing within Raytheon Technologies is really taking our existing systems and adding that incremental investment and incremental capabilities so that we can effectively get them to the fight today, as well as increasing that capability in the future. Because it's not just about air dominance today, it's about maintaining that. And a lot of what we're putting into our solutions within Raytheon Technologies is open architecture. Open architecture really allows us to develop hardware today that we can then upgrade continuously. So the pilot will always have the latest capability to maintain that air dominance with whatever mission they're trying to accomplish.
Thank you. Now, in the National Defense Strategy, there was talk about the great power competition. And what does that mean for Raytheon Intelligence and Space? And how are you developing those capabilities?
Well, if we look at where our customers were focused, where budgets were focused for the last 20 years, it really was on terrorism. And a lot of the capabilities we were working on was very much focused on terrorism. Our adversaries were not focused on terrorism. And so they've been able to invest in technologies for the last 20 years. And so there are some instances where they could be matching our capability or matching or exceeding some of this capability, which puts us in some cases a bit of a disadvantage. So we're looking at that entire situation, the analysis of what it takes to run a mission, to operate in it, and really look at what are those discriminators that these pilots need today to be able to be successful. And we've talked through some of those technologies as well in terms of what not just Raytheon Intelligence and Space can offer, which I've touched on some of that. My portfolio and electronic warfare certainly provides some of that edge, but really across Raytheon Technologies, from what Collins is doing all the way to what Pratt & Whitney. So the F-35 is a great example of how all of these different pieces come together to enable this great platform to really continue their air dominance legacy as we continue to move forward. So Intelligence and Space provides some of this capability. We talked about some of the jamming. We've talked about some of the radar warning receivers. Collins has helmet displays And so when you go from the entire kill chain of what we have from sensors and systems that provide that, all the way to the JPALs, which is a safe landing system that enables the pilot to operate safely, we really are talking about increasing the safety of the pilot, increasing their effectiveness in whatever they're doing, whatever environment they're in.
And so the merger has actually made quite a difference, hasn't it? Bringing, the Collins, Pratt and Whitney, all under that same Raytheon roof, and that's going to benefit for your customer, I guess.
We believe so. We believe by bringing all of these different pieces together, we get to leverage the heritage and the legacy of all of these different pieces that all of our companies individually have provided, and at a corporate level, really bring to bear the best type of capability. We understand each of these pieces very well within our legacy businesses, but to be able to tie across those and really understand how best to leverage that, we think we can bring better solutions to the pilots, to the warfighters, faster, lower risk, lower cost, and really helping to solve those really hard problems for our customers.
And finally, if we look at, it's not just about the F-35, there are some real legacy aircraft out there with your allies and in the US forces as well. How are your products going to help the legacy aircraft stay operational right into that future?
We really are talking about a whole suite of solutions. So take the AESA radars, for example. Raytheon Intelligence and Space itself has this long legacy of airborne AESA radars on multiple platforms, right? F-15 and F-18, and really taking that and enhancing. You've talked recently in the press a lot about the B-52, right? The B-52 was developed in the 50s. It's a legacy platform, but it has a lot of life left in it. And if we really talk about enhancing the capabilities that our customers currently have, like that B-52 aircraft, and bringing this advanced capability of an AESA radar into this. Now we're talking about making a B-52 an air dominant system and maintaining that capability for 50 more years. So by having these enhancements in some of our systems that we've talked about, it really is about increasing air dominance for our customers in 4th gen and 5th gen aircraft as we continue to look to 6th gen and beyond, ultimately to maintain that air dominance for our pilots.
Annabel, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Fin today. And if I can say, don't forget, if you want to see more about defence and what's going on in the world, go to our website, www.wearefin.com. Thank you for watching.